Welcome to News Laundry Chhota Hafta. For the full episode, subscribe because it is behind the paywall and only subscribers get access to uncut, complete content. News Laundry Hafta is our weekly wrap of all that made the news, all that didn't, and all that should have and all that shouldn't have. We agree, we disagree, we critique, and occasionally we beat each other up. But it's all good fun. Subscribe.
This is a News Laundry podcast and you're listening to NL Hafta.
अंग्रेज अपना लगान और न्यूज़ लॉन्ड्री अपना हफ्ता कभी नहीं छोड़ते. I am back after being absent for a week. Was thrilled, overwhelmed by the affection demonstrated by our subscribers at the London subscriber meet. More about that later in this podcast. But we will have one more subscriber meetup, this time in Bangalore. This is going to be in the first half of June. We haven't decided the date, but by next week we would have decided the date and communicated it to you. And the subscriber meet in Bangalore will be, although we've announced our partnership with the News Minute, it will be to celebrate it. So we will have subscribers and members of the News Minute. I think they call this subscribers members, and our subscribers both will be invited, and we can be one big happy team of people who love media that is independent.
Nice, both subscribers and members can also meet.
Get to know each other. So we will discuss the future and the plans to take feedback from all of you on how the News Laundry, the News Minute Alliance should be. You can drop us a mail at subscription@newslaundry.com if you want to attend. I repeat, subscription@newslaundry.com if you'd like to attend this. We would need this because we want to know how many people will attend so we can book a place accordingly. Just so you know, this time for the London meetup, almost I think 70 people came as opposed to like 40 last time.
It's really cool.
So in case like over 100 land up, we don't want, the place not to be able to accommodate you and the chai samosas to run out. Although I believe in Bangalore, you won't serve chai samosa.
Kapi and vada.
So we have a WhatsApp group for Bangalore subscribers where we send regular updates on meetups. In case you haven't joined that group, you can email us your number and we'll add you to the group. I repeat, subscription@newslaundry.com. Tell us if you'd like to attend the Bangalore event in June first half, and also if you want to be added to the group. Secondly, the Press Freedom Fund, I find after returning from the England, is not even half done. I thought that this Press Freedom Fund would get topped up within the first 2-3 weeks because of the whole excitement around Press Freedom Day and all the articles that went out. So do tell your friends, family, relatives. And if you've got some special summer bonus, you can give a part of that to the Press Freedom Fund. We will be doing a bunch of news reports, video explainers, and a couple of commentaries and opinion pieces on media freedom and the importance of the press.
We've already put one piece up, which is kind of a primer on what you can expect. It's the cases filed against journalists by ED, IT, NIA, and CBI.
Done by Tanishka.
Yeah.
That's the one. So you'll see a lot more of that stuff. And thank you for topping up the legal fund. I was thrilled that was topped up at least. So I think we are taken care of for the next 2 hearings. There may be another couple of hearings, I think, this month. After that, if these cases continue, we might ask you for more, but I don't think they should continue. On that note, welcome. Let me first introduce the panel and then we'll get to the headlines. We have a completely in-house panel today because we will be taking up all the emails that have been left over because we got so many. I said we have to dedicate one hafta just on answering your emails and explaining, if required, of whatever questions you ask. Joining us on the phone line from Chennai is Jayashree. Hi Jayashree, welcome back.
Hi, hello.
Joining us in the studio is Raman Kirpal.
Hi.
Anand Vardhan.
Hello.
Who has his first law exam today. Good luck, Anand.
Best of luck.
Take a hammer along with your pen. With answer nahi, just fling the hammer.
You had or you have?
After this.
I have.
He's prepared.
What time?
2:30, but I have a cab on rental, so I may get back quickly. Earlier I was a bit apprehensive whether I could get back in time.
Chalo, very good. And Manisha Pande.
Hello.
And I'm Abhinandan Sekhri. So Anand is super confident clearly because before his exam, as opposed to the rest of us who'd be cramming, he's sitting on the hafta.
I'm so impressed he's doing a podcast recording before an exam. Like,
Yeah.
I could never.
See, that's true confidence.
Don't make him double think, regret his presence here.
But let's get the headlines first. Jayashree?
Yes. So, after a heated poll campaign in Karnataka, the Congress has secured a clear majority with 136 assembly seats, the BJP 165. Siddaramaiah will take oath as the next chief minister on May 20th, while D.K. Shivakumar will be his deputy. In a report released just about a month before Modi goes to the US State Department has named India, Russia, and China as nations that continue to target religious community members.
Cloud with Russia.
America's keeps putting up these reports, but it doesn't make any difference at a serious diplomatic level or
Different advocacy groups which work.
yeah.
For this.
I don't think it's but sorry about the Karnataka election. I saw the coverage from the US and from London, and I think Manisha did a stellar job. It was, I think, the first time you've done a live,
Yeah.
right? It's like
I have newfound respect for TV news anchors. Or not.
but I have always maintained that doing live
is,
anchoring
yeah.
is a skill. I mean,
It's a
people
skill.
underestimate it. A lot of really smart people, you put them live on air.
Yeah,
They will not be able to hold, because you can't have dead air, right? So even if you have nothing happening, you still have to just fill up time. It's a skill, and whether you like it or not, it just is.
No, it's definitely a skill.
But good
It's
job, yeah, it
really-
was fantastic. Well done, everybody.
Actually, on the US State Department, just to go back to it, like you said that, I think they put out the same thing almost every year, making the same claim. And just as every year the same thing happens, the ministry also said, the External Affairs Ministry said, oh, this is misinformation, and these statements are motivated. And then we move on to the next year. So it's like a sort of friendly banter that US and India do every year. So anyway, in the next headline, in an FIR filed on Monday, the CBI has alleged that Sameer Wankede, who is the former Mumbai Zonal Director of the Narcotics Control Bureau, gave a free hand to an independent witness and his aide to extort 25 crores from the family of Aryan Khan.
Crazy.
This was a rumor back then also.
Yeah.
I heard it from various people, as I'm sure you did. No one reported it back then. But I'm wondering if all those channels like Navika and all, who were just hammering that they had decided what is Shah Rukh Khan's son with guilty or not.
Drug mafia and this and that.
Whether they will be, any apology will be made. Oh, by the way, I have half a mind. I think once we are clear with all the other cases, I want to file a PIL that news should not be shown at public spaces like at the airport. Because when I took the flight out of here, all the screens in the airport have news happening. And I was just saying that, because I was seeing there were old people, there were people with their children. Like, why the fuck would you have that shit playing? Because it's angry, it's aggressive, it's bullshit, most of it. I think public places should either have, where you can learn something, or a Discovery Channel or something, or have something soothing playing. As it is, it's a high stress environment. On top of that, people are there with children and families. The last thing you need is these aggressive anchors shouting horrible stuff, yeah.
But it's mostly on mute, right? You can't hear it.
Yeah.
No, some places, most places it's on mute, but at a few places next to this thing.
But they also, I believe, if
They're
they're
paid.
playing Aaj Tak Khan, they're paid.
Yeah, they're paid.
Yeah, one should figure out. Because my gym also plays in the afternoon. I don't know why they play ABP News, which only has Bageshwar Baba. From morning till at least 4 o'clock, it's just Bageshwar Baba on ABP News. I want to
Now,
ask...
I can only imagine Manisha deadlifting to the sound of an ABP anchor. It's a good visual.
But I should ask the gym, why do you have ABP on? Maybe they're getting paid or something.
Gym is still okay. It's an aggressive. You want people to be pumped up. Hey, yeah, kill the minority. Yeah, but at a fucking airport, you're there with, children and stuff. I really don't think news should be playing at public places.
And this Shah Rukh Khan case, things are not yet clear. Of course, this claim has been made that this guy wanted to extort, but that conspiracy...
even if they can't prove it, the fact that he lives way beyond his means is something that has been well known. They found that he's wearing a watch worth 20 lakh. I think it was well known. I'm sure your source also already, he used to take regular trips abroad with his family, stay at the fanciest place. There's no way in hell he can afford that. Just his wardrobe. They say when he used to come to office, his wardrobe, the watch, his shoes, etc., were more than the salary, an annual salary of an average cop. So on that, he's, where he got the money from, they may not be able to prove it was from Shah Rukh Khan or whatever. But the rest of the shit, I think is, unless he can show he has someone who keeps gifting him these fancy things.
Anyway, in the latest updates from Manipur, the curfew is continued and internet has not been restored. Meanwhile, the police have claimed at least 1,000 weapons have been looted from police stations.
Yeah.
My God.
Crazy. And no central minister has gone there yet. I think about 10 MLAs wrote to the centre saying that they've lost faith in the BJP administration there.
CM had come to Delhi.
Yeah.
Their CM, Manipur CM had come to Delhi.
Some of the representative cookies, MLA's representatives also came here and gave Amit Shah lowdown on what had happened.
In fact, in this letter, they have asked for more than just having lost their faith. They've asked for like an autonomous body to administer.
Yeah, because they've said that we don't have the confidence to live in the valley anymore because of the violence. So it's really bad. It remains tense. I think there's still an internet shutdown.
The latest thing is the JNU thing, no? They were going to organize an event. As in Manipur students or something were going to organize an event to discuss the violence, but they were asked to cancel it.
Yeah, with no permission. Correct.
BJP MP Kiren Rijiju was removed as Union Law Minister. He's been replaced by Arjun Ram Meghwal. This is the day after Justice K.B. Vishwanathan was sworn in as Supreme Court judge. He's the one who said questioning the state is not anti-national.
Any theories on why Kiren Rijiju was...
Papadwala. If you remember during COVID days,
he said it builds
his
immunity.
video had come with the papad.
So that's
that this papad can cure COVID.
He said it doesn't cure COVID. This, if you eat this, I think it's called Bhabi Ji ke papad or something. It's a brand of, I think it's a corporate or something. It builds COVID antibodies by eating that papad.
Maybe some avla papad.
It builds up your immunity system against COVID.
No, not immunity, sir. He went one step further. It actually develops antibodies.
Antibodies.
Papad, by eating papad.
And I remember meeting him, when he is from Bikaner, and I had gone for this. I did one story on this the land story in Bikaner, that Gandhi family, Vadra. They had bought lots of land. So
solar farms.
So I had met him at that time for his comment. I remember he's a former IAS officer.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I think it is more for political reasons because Rajasthan is going for election.
And why? Any theories on why Rijiju has been shifted to Earth and Sciences?
I think the story which came out in Express today, which claims that Rijiju was very vocal against Supreme Court. That is why he has been. I think it's a plant story.
Yeah, because I don't think he can be vocal without the PMO wanting him to be vocal.
Of course. None of them can even utter a word.
Yeah. I think that he took such a belligerent stance. I don't think that was a coincidence. It is.
Yes. So it cannot be. I mean, I think Express fell for this plant, fell for this story.
In other Supreme Court news, the Supreme Court has granted SEBI an extension until August 14th to conclude its investigation into the allegations made in the Hindenburg report. SEBI had also filed an affidavit saying it was factually baseless that it had been investigating the Adani Group since 2016.
Although that's what was claimed by the Ministry of Finance. So
in Parliament,
And she said she still stands by what she said. So she is saying that SEBI's affidavit is wrong. I mean, that's the implied meaning, of course.
Anyway, the last headline for today is the Supreme Court has upheld the Tamil Nadu government's law which permits the bull-taming sport of Jallikattu in the state. It said it is the Constitution bench said it's part of the cultural heritage of Tamil Nadu and the judiciary cannot take a different view. That's it.
Right. On that note, we will be just dealing with emails in this hafta. We will discuss two things I just want to know the panel's view on. But because we haven't discussed emails for the last two haftas, because there were so many mails that had piled up, I had requested all of you, do not mail till we can deal with all these. So from next week, you can start sending your mails again. You can send your mails to podcasts@newslaundry.com. I repeat, podcasts@newslaundry.com. In the title line, please write Hafta or ONA, whoever you want to send it to. Or you can just click on the link on the show notes below, which is the preferred way of doing it because it tells you when you have exhausted your word count. So click on the link below, tell us your feedback, your critique, your appreciation, or what you would like us to do or not do on the Hafta. On that note, I first want to ask about this Jallikattu ban or not ban. The Supreme Court has said it's cultural heritage.
Look, in Tamil Nadu, it's especially in rural areas, Jallikattu is part of Pongal. It lasts several days. It's supposed to be a sort of display of the ability and the strength of your bull, of your caliber of your bulls. it is a violent sport. I mean, there is only one winner. I think it is incredibly violent because if you watch Jallikattu in person, you see the bulls are beaten, they're poked, they're harassed, they bleed, they use chemicals in their eyes, to sort of infuriate them. I think it's very similar to what they do with the bull-taming and all in Spain. And yeah, I think it's barbaric. I think there is no place in the world for sports like that, or even for things like, even horse riding, I do think is a slightly idiotic sort of sport to do. But I think to come to this position as someone who was urban and sitting in a very, air-conditioned apartment in a big city, I think a lot of us lack the nuance as to what this really means to, for example, to farmers in rural areas. I think that I feel like we're being a little dismissive when we try and reduce something which has hundreds of years of tradition into something as basic as, is it barbaric or is it not? But then this is the same thing that happened with the Dalai Lama, right? Like, again, we lack that nuance and all, but at a fundamental level, yes. Like, I did think it was extremely problematic. And in the same way, yeah, like I do think Jallikattu is an extremely problematic sport. I don't see why animals need to be included. And I say this as somebody who values humans over animals any day. Like, I think also the same debate was going on in Maharashtra, right? Because the Supreme Court had heard two things parallelly a few years ago. One was about banning Jallikattu, one was about banning bullock racing in Maharashtra. But it is in Tamil Nadu that it's really tied to the sense of identity. So anyway, yeah, this is my very garbled take on it.
What about you, Anand? Will give us some more nuance to you since he's doing jurisprudence paper today and being the active animal lover. So from your experience of attending all those rallies on vegetarianism and stuff, Anand, where you were asking people to stop eating meat and stop wearing leather, and your law, can you give us your take on what do you think about things like Jallikattu and it in particular?
So, as you know, I am very qualified to speak on it. So half of my job is already done. So, you see, I think I am not in favor of burgeoning this kind of social legislation, but I hope that the people associated with the sport with time, say a gradualist view I am taking, that with time realize the horror of it. And I think a legislative view or even a judicial view could be counterproductive to such practices. But with social process, maybe one can hope, one can be optimistic about a point where people realize the atrocities that come with it. So I think that's a good...
But do you think when you use the word horror, I mean, do you think it's so horrible to make a bull run? I mean,
what makes it run may be horrible. So,
yeah, in the way that you described, how they agitate the animal, maybe.
Hitting the animals.
Yes.
I'm not in favor of the courts stepping in and deciding what is to be done with the social custom unless until it is a criminal thing, like you cannot be burning women for dowry and stuff like that. I mean, those are the interventions that we want, but on a practice like this, I'm not sure it has to come from society. It has to come from people who play the sport to understand that at least, or some sort of regulation where you can stop the use of chemicals or whatever else you're doing to agitate the animal. Make it as kind of comfortable, if possible, for the bull to run. So yeah, that's what I feel. I felt that way for Sabrimala also, even though at that point I felt that ritual, the way it was practiced, it had to come from people deciding on women.
What ritual?
Not allowing women to enter temples.
But that's not a ritual, that's just...
But it's specific to that temple because it's not like throughout. Right. So it's ritualistic in the sense of what they believe the deity to be. I did feel even then that I think it had to come from people just coming to a consensus on it, and that takes time.
We need to educate people about this. Like, for example, I mean, of course, I don't live in Tamil Nadu, but I really have no idea. If you see all the rituals, how they become dogmatic with years. So that's what people need to be educated at, what it used to be 100 years ago and what it has become today. So maybe with this education, I think the people are going to learn their lessons.
Although I think things move forward in fits and starts, like 10 steps forward, 3 backwards, and maybe 5 forwards and 8 backwards. I think right now we're in a more backward kind of time period because of political reasons, how these things are politically kind of weaponized as identity. For example, this whole thing that, I think India generally, the discourse in families and friends was a lot more educated and secular 25 years ago or 30 years ago. So on that we've come back. So on animals specifically, I do think killing an animal for fun, I judge people. I think then there's something wrong with you. But otherwise, whether
hunting is that, no?
Hunting is that, exactly. Yeah. I think that's horrible, like killing an animal for fun. But like a Jallikattu, of course, no one should be rubbing, this chemicals and all, but like horse racing, I don't enjoy it, but I really don't see the reason to ban it. Similarly, if it's an endangered animal that's killed for ecological reasons, I think that's a bigger deal.
No, but that's the argument that veganism also makes, right? Which is in that it does have a lot of good arguments that we are very speciesist in how we think. We think killing a dog is horrific because we attach that sort of
sentiment.
Belief,
I am against killing of any animal.
But we do not have the same things when it comes to fish and pigeons and goats and deer and whatever. So at the end of the day, all our animals and all their feelings and killing
vegetarians can take a very clean position on this.
No, they can't.
But also I feel like you need to be intersectional about it, right? Especially in a country like India, where caste so much dictates what you are eating, and religion. Like, why are Muslim traders being lynched? It is for purposes of things like beef. So I think your definitions of what is right and wrong should also take into account the sort of unpredictabilities of all these things.
Well, the fact is that most, people, women getting killed for being witches happen in villages where there is lack of education. There has not been a single witch who has been identified and killed in my colony. But I know of a village where my father was at one time posted when he was in the army, where 2 women have been killed. So while I get one should not be that we know better, but there on many issues, social issues, we do know better because we have a worldview and education that many people in villages don't like. My hero Bapu, who I think is the greatest human being to have walked the earth, was that villages is where India resides. If villages is where India resides, then India's fucked because they are fucking up shit creek on issues of basic empathy, on issues of social customs, on equality issues. So on that, I think urban areas anywhere in the world, not just in India, are definitely better. All of you listening in, the Chhota Hafta, do subscribe so you can listen to the entire Hafta. We will see you again next week with the Hafta. Till then, subscribe, pay to keep news free, because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Thank you. Goodbye.
All the News Laundry podcasts are available on Stitcher, iTunes, and any other podcast platform.
Please subscribe to News Laundry. Help us keep news independent. To catch all our podcasts on news, pop culture, current affairs, and sport, visit newslaundry.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. Sun liya Afrika, mufat khoro. Not to brag or anything, but News Laundry Hafta features in the top 50 in the world on SoundCloud in the news and politics category for podcasts. So do subscribe and see what you're missing, because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Subscribe, help keep news independent and free. All News Laundry podcasts are available on iTunes and Stitcher and any other podcast platform.